us. Greetings to all of our viewers and listeners at Padres.com, as well as 97.3 The Fan, and those of you watching on MLB Network. We are here to officially announce the signing of someone very familiar to all of us here and certainly the faithful. Everyone here at Petco Park is thrilled. The return of pitcher Michael King to be announced here today. Joining Michael on the stage this afternoon is Padres President of Baseball Operations and General Manager A.J. Preller. We'll begin today's program with remarks from A.J., followed by a statement from Michael, and then we'll open it up to your questions. So, A.J., take it away.
Thank you, Don. Michael's here today. Just want to acknowledge he's here today with his mom and dad, with Jim and Michelle, and Sheila, his wife, and Gracie. So it's really, they've been a big part of the Padre family over the last few years, and we're really excited to have them here in San Diego for the long term. So, 2 years ago when we were looking at our roster in the off season and looking at potentially a big trade and how we kind of reshaped our roster, we felt, obviously we were talking to the Yankees at the time and felt like Michael was a huge priority for us and the perfect fit for our team and what we needed, as a pitching staff. And 2 years later, we're in a similar spot. We feel like we have a really good team, championship caliber level team, but we also understood that, in the starting pitching rotation that we were in a spot where we had some holes to fill. And as we sat down and prefed out the starting pitchers that were out there, Michael was somebody that we had very top priority on bringing back throughout the whole off season. So I want to acknowledge Bobby Barrett, who's here. Some twists and turns over the last few weeks, but he was diligent. That at the end of the day, he knew Michael loved San Diego. He wanted to be a part of this thing, and we were able to work through it and find a way to get Michael here. Obviously for the fans of San Diego, we know what Michael brings in terms of his ability. That's pretty easy to see. Started opening day, started playoff games. Obviously has had 2 years here in San Diego, has been part of 2 playoff teams. I think the part for myself, Josh Stein, Eric, and John, when we sat down, we're talking about the available pitchers and what we need to do to make our team better. You do a lot of homework when you're doing these things. Here, we've been around Michael for the last 2 years, so we know the work ethic, we know the aptitude in the mind, we know what type of competitor he is. We've seen how he's made the transition from a relief pitcher to one of the best starters in the game. We've seen the way he's worked with Ruben and our pitching staff. And anytime you're looking to make a big investment, you're just looking for somebody you trust. And for John, myself, Eric, Josh, it was a pretty easy decision, knowing that we have somebody that has the ability to be one of the best starters in the game and somebody that we trust a ton as a person. So very excited to be here today announcing Michael back with the Padres and the signing of Michael to a 3-year deal.
Thank you. Well, thank you. First off, I want to say how excited I am to be back in San Diego. It's obviously one of the best ballparks, some of the best fans. It is where we started our family. It's where we started our foundation. So we have a lot of ties here. So thank you, John, for believing in me, and the whole Seidler family for believing in me. And obviously, we share the same goal of bringing a championship here. I obviously lot of trust in AJ. He does some crazy moves, but he always puts together a winning roster, and it's really fun to see what that roster ends up becoming. Eric, we've obviously already had a great relationship throughout it. It's a testament to the fan base that you've created here, and obviously the product that goes out there, but the events that is put on at Petco and how fan-oriented this is, and it's going to be really special to bring a championship here. I see Ruben in the back over there. The coaching staff over here has been awesome in my development. Obviously, you're the centerpiece in that. Fritzy, Peter Somerville, Chris Apsachea, those guys have fully helped me develop into who I am now. I owe a ton to the ability that I have right now, and I really appreciate everything you've done for me these past 2 years. Bobby, I'm sure I am maybe an annoying client of yours because I have a lot of demands, and I'm sure that you annoy him maybe more than me, which I'm very happy about. But I really appreciate the contract that you were able to negotiate for me. I think that you knew that this is a place that I wanted to be at, and I'm really happy we were able to get something done. I have a lot to thank for my family. Obviously, my parents flew all the way out across the country just for a day just to see this. I know my sister and brother-in-law back home are watching. You guys have done so much for me. You never once complained about schedule or money or whatever it took to get me to where I'm at, and I couldn't be more appreciative. And my wife and baby girl over there, that'll get me emotional. But the sacrifices that you make, obviously, you know, baseball wives they go through it, and we're on the road for half the year. I'm at the field for majority of the day, and you're kind of solo parenting for a lot of that. You've done a great job with our daughter. You've made me, I actually want you to look at the numbers, pre-2021 me and post-2021 me is a testament to how happy I am with my relationship and how much she pushes me. So I could not be more appreciative of everything you do for me and the family. So very excited to be back here. Obviously a ton of faces that are near and dear to my heart, and I can't wait to continue this for the next few years.
Might have been an oversight, but I think you forgot broadcasters.
You're right. The third inning, Mud has already said that I'm on the hook for that. So yeah, that actually brought the number down. I said it had to be more, but if I get those interviews with Don and Mud, I'll take a little less.
All right. On that note, we'll open it up to the floor for questions. We have microphones on both sides of the room with Devin and with Jorge as well. Please raise your hand, wait for the microphone, and then we'll call on you. And we'll start with AJ Casavell from MLB.com.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, AJ.
This was obviously your first foray into free agency, your first kind of time getting to experience it. What was it like? And kind of take me through the journey and what you think brought you back to San Diego, how it ended up here.
Very cool experience, very nerve-wracking experience. You have no idea how you're going to get valued. You have no idea what team will be interested in you. I was very fortunate to have the teams that I wanted to be interested in me. And then I got a little nervous. There wasn't much communication from AJ for a couple days there. But when he came calling, it was great for us. Obviously, Bobby knew where I wanted to be, and he continued to give me all the details throughout literally every day. I was getting multiple calls from him of different things. And when I heard that AJ was calling and interested, it definitely it made me a lot more excited and a little less nervous. So I think that it was a very fun experience now looking back at it, but definitely a lot of anxiety throughout the last few days.
I know you mentioned a few things already, but like when AJ called and when San Diego was kind of clearly an option for you, why was it the best option for you?
I mean, it's very simple. I mentioned, obviously, family getting started here. We have so many roots here. The foundation that we have, the atmosphere playing here is just, it's second to none. And I think that the players that he has put together, the staff that he has put together, made it so it was very familiar to me and very fun to be a part of. And I think that we have some unfinished business, and I want to be a part of a championship team. And that was the number one pillar that I said of teams I wanted to go to. It needs to be a team that is going to win throughout the duration of the contract. And I have a ton of trust in AJ to do that, while Gracie's interrupting me, but it's her world. So yeah, those are the main reasons why I want to be back here, and could not be more excited that we got a deal done.
Jeff Sanders.
Hey, Mike. What was that timeline? Like, how far into free agency before you actually heard from AJ?
I mean, early on, he expressed his interest. And then when did we start actually?
Probably more.
10 days ago? It was
It got real serious when I had Craig and Ruben send the text to Michael, be like, hey, feel this out. Let's see if Bobby's telling the truth, or see if he's interested in coming back or not. So yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, you have your initial check-ins, and then, you know, over the last, week to 10 days started to get more serious from our end for sure. So.
Yeah, I would say it was about that. And yeah, I got on the same day a just random text from Ruben and Stammen, and that's the other. I forgot even to mention Stammen. I think that's an incredible hire. I can't wait to work with him. He's become a friend the last couple of years as is he special assistant? Is that what he was? And I mean, now it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see him develop into that role.
As you were waiting for that from Preller, you're getting some interest from some East Coast teams. How real was that pull back to the East Coast? You are an East Coast guy.
Yeah, I mean, totally. There were, I think geography played a little bit in terms of where I would like to go. I think that the unknown of being on those teams is a little different. The willingness to win on those teams is just foreign. I had no idea what I was walking into. I had those meetings. And yeah, in those Zoom calls and those in-person meetings, you kind of get a feel for it. But ultimately, when you sit back and think about a winning team and a winning mentality, I know that I got one of the best in the business to get us to where we want to be. And feeling the playoff atmosphere and pressure in San Diego was something I want to feel every year for the rest of my career. So those are the ties that brought me back here.
Marty Caswell.
I was going to say, too, the cool part, Jeff, like as we went through the process also was hearing, like, Michael obviously, grew up on the East Coast, went to school there, and that was where his priority was. But when you hear things like, hey, the one West Coast team that he wants to play for is the Padres because of his experiences here with the team, the roster, the city, the ownership group, the whole thing, and definitely the fans. That was, again, that's nice to hear. And we hear that a lot from players here recently, and with Michael, when you hear, hey, the one place he wants to play on the West Coast is San Diego, it was pretty cool to hear.
Michael, just to clarify, did you guys have any talks at all with management during the season, or did you wait until you became a free agent to have serious discussions?
Wait until I was a free agent.
Why? I mean, were you wondering, like, why were there no talks during the regular season?
No, I mean, I think there was definitely a part of me that just wanted to experience free agency. I think as a player, you want to play for that right to see your options. And it's very easy to know that this is where I want to be. And so even hearing from other teams in free agency, you have to decide on, do I want to risk going to this place that I've never been before, or come back to what's familiar, a very winning culture. We're changing coaching staff to make it an even better team than it was the year before. And so I think that the trust that I had in this organization was ultimately the reason for that. But I think that, yeah, every player that gets to free agency, if they want to, they deserve the right to test it out.
And that's quite a birthday gift you gave to your pitching coach. Can you just describe what is that the reason why? And how would you best describe your relationship with him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Ruben means a lot to me. It's awkward saying it in front of his face, but because that's just how guys are. But I mean, yeah, when I first got traded 2 years ago, I think we had a 2-hour phone call before I talked to AJ briefly, and then Ruben talked to me for 2 hours that we broke down everything, whether that was the construction of the roster, my transition to being a starter, pitch package, everything. And I felt like the relationship started then. We've obviously butt heads a few times, but ultimately I know he has my best interest at heart. He has the team's best interest at heart. And every day he shows up ready to make me a better pitcher, and I couldn't thank him enough for that.
Dennis Lynn.
Michael, you obviously had a lot of success the last few years. Do you feel like you mentioned unfinished business. I was wondering, do you feel like you have something to prove after this past year didn't go exactly according to plan?
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously injuries stink. I was not happy with my lack of being a lack of innings. I wanted to be. They trusted me to be the opening day starter. Opening day starters go 200 innings, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do that. And unfortunately we were bounced in the first round of the playoffs. And I think that plays a lot into the competitive nature in me, keeping a chip on my shoulder and making sure that I prove that I'm the pitcher that he believes in, that I believe in, that Ruben believes in, and ultimately go out there and win a lot of playoff games.
That being said, how important was it for you to have the ability to potentially go through this process again a year from now?
Yeah, I mean that's part of the reason, because obviously, yeah, I was injured. I don't want to say it was a discount by any means. It's still a lot of money, and I'm very happy with the contract. But yeah, I think that I can definitely prove that I'm valuable. I also think it continues to make me want to be a better pitcher and not settle just based on the contract that I signed. So World Series is definitely the first thing on my mind, and I know that when I prioritize winning games and making my teammates better, everything will fall in place for me.
Jesse Agler.
Mike, if you wouldn't mind thinking back to when you arrived here, centerpiece of a huge trade, obviously, and just sort of what you knew and felt about the Padres then, and maybe compare it to today, because it really wasn't all that long ago.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. 2 years went by very quickly. And yeah, I knew nothing about the organization. I knew they had a ton of great talent in that locker room. I was walking into a star-studded lineup. I'm very happy I didn't have to face it for the last few years. And I thought I was going from New York, this huge market, tons of fans, like very passionate fan base, to what I would have thought was like a small to mid-market team. And I walk in and see this stadium rocking, and I was just like, this is real. And so San Diego totally changed my perspective of Petco and the Padres. The way that they've welcomed me and my family to this city, it's awesome walking in the streets and just getting to go Padres as I walk by. I think that the roots that we have placed here are going to stay with us forever, and I could not be more happy with this decision to be with Padres.
Ben Higgins.
Hey, Michael, you talked about it briefly, but I'm way back here. Can you give us an update on just where your health stands right now, kind of going into the season, any limitations, and how it affected the process of free agency, talking to other teams who weren't as familiar with your status as the Padres were?
Yeah, fully healthy. I actually think I'm ahead of where I was at last year, which is a great thing. I guess, unfortunately, that was because we were bounced a little bit earlier in the playoffs. But shut down my normal shutdown, did my normal build-up, and ready to go, no limitations. In free agency, it's obviously a question mark. I think that the trust that I've developed with the training staff here and doctors here allowed me to, I don't want to say overlook that kind of thing, but they have faith in what I do in the off season, and making sure that my body's healthy and ready to go come season.
Back to AJ Casabell.
AJ, how does this move affect like the state of your rotation and your plans moving forward now? What would you view as the...
I'm interested in that too.
Yeah. So if you want to ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we go into it now with, Nick Pivetta coming off a Cy Young type season and Joe Musgrove coming back, which is super exciting for everybody, and Michael, I think kind of front in the rotation in any order, however you want to do it. You got to start with, again, you start with starting pitching and elite performers that can throw innings. And yeah, I think for us, like having those three kind of leading it, and then a lot of competition after that. Obviously, there's still a lot of off-season left, and we're going to look to continue to improve our team. We talk about it all the time, not just cliche. You never have enough pitching, and especially starting pitching. So, it's still active, our conversations. And again, it's all about trying to bring a championship. So we understand that, we're going to do what we can to try to continue to get the team better. But, putting Michael in that spot with Nick and Joe kind of fronting it, that's a good feeling for Craig and Ruben and everybody here in San Diego. And obviously, it was a big need and got a top priority for us here with the signing today.
Back to Jesse Agler.
AJ, similar kind of question I asked to Michael. I mean, you were talking about the way conversations and negotiations go with free agents now here in San Diego and the way guys feel. How does that differ maybe from when you first started here and kind of the place that the organization is in now compared to them?
Yeah, I mean, you hear it, every conversation, honestly. It's really cool to be a part of it. I think it's a testament, again, to like the thoughts and visions that we've had over the last 10 years and really our players, our players and they've created a team that our fan base believes can win a World Series championship, and been some high and low moments over the last 6 years that we've kind of pursuing that. But I think every year, I think in this signing, you hear a lot of talk out there at times like, how long is the window going to last? I think Peter used to always scoff at the idea of sustainable. I think we go to the start of the off season and you get people talking about like, hey, should we what does this mean? They've got this hole or that hole, and to be here in a day like today, and it feels like kind of a regular occurrence that we're getting top talent that wants to be here, which is a huge part of it. And I think it's because a lot of what our players have built, and when you look up a guy like, again, you talk about signing players that the fans know are going to be here for a long time. Hopefully Michael continues to be here for a long time. Joe, you, Darvish, those guys kind of setting a foundation of winning and all about winning here in San Diego. And obviously Manny and Xander and Toddy and Crony. You start the offseason with like, can we fill a couple holes? You're not looking every year to try to revamp your roster. And I think that's been the game plan. And we hear it. We hear it in the industry when people talk to us about how special it is and how they want to be here. So it's the idea.
One last for Michael from me. The camaraderie that we've seen among the starters the last few years, from the outside, looks very special. Looks like a lot of conversation in game. I imagine even more kind of behind the scenes. How excited are you to get back with that group?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Ruben's the one that drives that, but then ultimately the players are the ones that keep it going. And I think Pavetta was actually my first call when we were finalized. Comes in last year and obviously is immediately brought in. We have great leadership around everybody, and with Joe and Darvish being the steady guys that are here, and then Nick coming in and having a career year, me coming in and learning how to become a starter, a full-time starter. I totally fell on both of them to guide me, as in Darvish and Musgrove. And then Dylan's obviously a tough one. He's one of our best friends. I'll still be a huge fan of his. Ultimately, you gotta part ways with some people, and I think he'll have a ton of success. But then, we just gotta kind of say next man up, and who's gonna fill that void, and round out our starting five. And then it's go time from there. Yeah, I always say starting pitching wins championships, and I hate to say this, but you saw it with the Dodgers this year. They put their starters in the bullpen and they absolutely dominated. So it's got to be a full team effort with the starting rotation that ultimately sets the tone for every game.
Any other questions today? Yes, Bob Scanlon.
Mike, obviously a lot of things go into making these decisions, and you'd mentioned earlier about the foundation that you and Sheila had put together, and you guys have built a lot of important relationships here in San Diego with Rady Children's Hospital and done a lot of great stuff for type 1 diabetes. So how much does staying here in San Diego help continue that momentum of what you guys have already built here?
Absolutely. It makes it a lot easier to keep these relationships, to make these relationships even stronger. This is a city that is a hub for the biotech companies for type 1 diabetes. So that's ultimately why we made it so quickly in 2024, because we wanted to capitalize on our time here. And now that we have some extra time here, we're gonna fully capitalize on it. And just the community aspect in general is great in San Diego. The Padres preach it, and we have a ton of different opportunities to push it forward.
That will conclude our press conference for today. Michael and AJ, congratulations again, and we hope everyone has a safe and enjoyable holiday season. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks, Dave.